Hello, beautiful souls. I wanted to come in and offer a video today just to update you on where I've been. I came back and started doing videos and then disappeared again. And I just wanted to share a bit about that because in my absence, so much has been happening behind the scenes. So much is coming alive right now that was really a surprise to me, even a very delightful surprise. So in the month of December, it was just so busy that I couldn't get to a video. And I felt like in January I would just jump right back in. But life had other plans for sure. And January was very much a time of integrating the new information that's come to me and also a sense of just a dissolving. It was like something old just needed to dissolve within me to make space for this newness that's coming through. And right now, I am so excited about what's coming. In December, I also received a very powerful invitation that relates to my book, Conversations with a Tree, that I will be sharing very soon. In the meantime, I was having a reading with a friend because it's so wonderful to be on the receiving end sometimes and not always being the one who's offering to others. And she's very connected to the earth and loves the earth, and she lives in a little cottage by the ocean. And as we were moving into my reading, she heard a knock on the floorboards under the floor. And she told me that the elementals were wanting to connect with me, and by the elementals, she means like the nature spirits, fairies, dwarves, elves. There are many different kinds. And she said that they were wanting to connect. And I said, oh, do they want me to write? Because, of course, I've written the book Conversations with a Tree. So I have that very strong connection with nature. And she said, well, it's much more than that. They want you to be their ambassador. And the message was that the elemental kingdom is ready to start connecting with humanity now because they are able to connect with us more as we're moving into this higher frequency. There was a time when humans and elementals worked together in harmony, and the elementals would help the humans, and by that, the humans were then helping the elementals as well. And as our frequency grew more and more dense, they actually had to leave because they were too sensitive for the frequency that the elemental beings live in. And so they disappeared for a while, in a sense. We know they live in what I would call the etheric realm anyway. Most of us don't see them with our physical eyes. Many people sense them. But it is interesting for me to be called by them to be their ambassador. And part of the message is that they're ready to work with humanity again because our frequency is elevating so that the very sensitives who have open and loving hearts can they can feel safe connecting with us once again. And then I was having another reading close to that time, about a month later, with a woman who had just experienced a very powerful method of transformation that I wanted to experience. And in that reading, I told her that I had just received this information about being connected with elementals. And she said, it's in your very DNA. It's who you are. It's the codes that you bring. So I know my light language is anchoring in earth codes and star codes. And I know the star codes are with beings from the cosmos. And now I recognize that the earth codes are coming from the elemental realm. And the first woman who heard the elves knocking at the floor told me that my writing that I do, I put it in some of my art. I've been directed to call it Arabella. And she recognized that it is most likely writing from the elemental realms and from the fairies. And so this is within me. And when this woman said it's in your DNA, I had no hesitation whatsoever. It makes perfect sense to me because really I've shared another video where I've just been such a sensitive in the world and feel like the world just doesn't meet who I am. And it's been a tough go for me. And I've shared with friends before that in a way, feel like the world is catching up with me. And not to say that I've always been, so highly evolved or anything like that, but just of such a delicate frequency and a refined nature that I finally feel like, as I feel this love frequency rising up in the earth more and more as the actual frequency of the earth, which is the frequency that we're then moving and existing in, is elevated, pardon me, I can feel the love underneath that I've always been looking for. It's never been there for me in the old 3D world. And I've been on this planet for quite a time. So I came in the 1950s when things were much more dense than they are now. So this is what's been going on behind the scenes. And I have pardon me, so many ideas of things that I'm going to bring forward. And what I realized years ago when I was doing my YouTube videos, I had a little intro that was Jane Warren Campbell, Nature Communicator. And that has really just landed in for me now. It's just rock solid. And I started connecting with the elementals not long after I received that information. And for a while, I felt very confused. I just wasn't sure. Like, am I connecting with fairies? That didn't feel right to me, or goblins or dwarves. That just didn't feel right to me. And I thought, well, maybe I'm connecting with elves, and I saw them sort of as a more evolved type of being that I would meet more from human experience. And I started receiving some information from them, and I'll just share the very simple messages that I've received so far. And recently, I had three people tell me about a woman named Tanis Halliwell, who has a strong connection with the elemental kingdom and who has written several books. And so I decided to get some of her books so that I could just feel like I'm connecting in the way that I need to be to share this information. And then when I go back and read the messages that I received before getting her information, I realized I was getting valid information. So it was great to validate for me. But I always want to be sure that my connection is strong before I'm going to share anything in the world. And I am really feeling that now. But part of January and the dissolving was feeling like I just didn't know how to start with this. It was different from conversations with a tree because when that happened, I used to visit this tree a lot because I loved the little pond and the sound of the stream running out of the pond. And it was where a trail divided. It was a beautiful space. And so I would just sit at the base of this tree and just take in the scenery. And so it made sense one day when I knew beyond a doubt that she was reaching out to me to be her scribe. And at the same time, I was also channeling a book that ended up being a 300-page book. So I was channeling almost every day. So I think the combination of those two things allowed me to know that Henrietta wanted me to be her scribe. But this time it came through someone else instead of coming directly to me. And I think that's part of why I just wasn't sure how to approach it. And when I had that first reading, after we talked for a while, and I really took it all to heart and really was like, yes, of course, I'll be their ambassador. I can't imagine anything better spending time out in nature with nature spirits. Like, nature has been my comforter all my life. So it was a beautiful invitation that I definitely wanted to step into. And at the end of that, I even heard this time, we both heard a door shut. It was like, okay, she's in, we can go now. So it's been really fun. I'm just so excited about diving into this and connecting with them. And I have so many ideas of what I want to bring forward once I start launching what this newness is about conversations with a tree and bringing all of this stuff forward. So for the month of February, my plan is really to be in retreat, bring all of this creativity into manifestation in the ways that I'm envisioning. And I will have lots of new offerings, I hope, by the end of February. Time goes by so fast. I mean, I don't even know where January went. It felt like it was 3 days long. So that's the goal. So if I go missing again, I just wanted everyone to know that I haven't completely disappeared again. I'm working on connecting with these elemental beings and new ideas that I have, taking things that I've created in the past and revising them to meet this new connection with the elves and the beings. And I just wanted to share some very simple messages that I received from them. So, one, I was just asking them sort of what they wanted to accomplish from me working with them. And one of the things they said was that to share with the world, it means so much to them to have the return of the elemental kingdom to the awareness of mankind. So, like I said, humans and elementals used to work together. And one of the things they've shared with me is that there's lots that's going to be changing on the earth. And this is going to bring through a lot of earth changes. And they've said that by coming together before these things happen, they can help us. And by helping us, we are in return helping them. And by helping us, it's like I was connecting with the fairies and I said, because they said if I work with them, if I would dedicate myself to them and connect with them every day, they would be so happy. They would do whatever they could. They told me that they will sing a song of love to me to pull in everything that I desire, and then we will all be happy. That was one of their messages. And one of the things I asked the fairies was, well, how can you help humanity? And they said, we are the manifestors, so we help you by manifesting things. And then just yesterday in this material that I received from Tanis Helliwell, I learned that indeed the fairies are the manifestors and the elemental realm is part of manifesting everything on this earth. So it was really validating for me that her information definitely validated what the fairies were saying, that we can help you manifest. And the very first message that came through, I would ask that you not take this with fear, but just to know that many, many changes are happening on the earth at this time. And one example, we can see it with all the fires that are happening, and volcanoes are erupting, and there are lots of predictions of earthquakes coming. And, when we step into fear, or if this feels fearful to you, I invite you to stay in your own world, not let yourself get caught up by what's going on in the outside, and trust and know that we were always placed where we're meant to be. If we're meant to go, then we're going to go. But if we're meant to stay, nature's going to make sure that we're wherever we need to be in order for that to happen. It's like for those of us who are meant to stay, we just kind of weave through everything that's happening and we're fine. And for those who are meant to go, it serves their highest good not to remain on this earth. Some souls do not want to be here and do this the way that it's going to be after these changes happen on the earth. So the very first message, it was October or December 28th when I brought through this message. The elves want humanity to understand that as people and land fall away in the years to come, it is not time to feel troubled. It is a gift because it is a grand exit of the dark. And that is the time we're in. We're in this time of great transition and one of the greatest evolutions that ever's happened on this planet as we step into a new era, into a new age, and to know that so many other beings in the universes are right here to watch what's happening with us right now. I think it's really important to remember that our evolution as humanity is the most important thing right now. And the more we stay centered within ourselves and do our own personal work, the more fully we are bringing that evolution into our own next incarnations and into our own evolution even after we leave this planet. Another thing that the fairies said to me, I was trying to figure out which ones I wanted to connect with. And I said, is there like a king of your kingdom that I could connect with? And they said, oh, yes, they would be very happy to talk to you. Use what you are learning from some of the material you get. Our king will tell us how we can support you and care for you so that you are healthy and have the energy to do our work, the work of connecting with us so that I can then bring those messages to the world. So that was part of what they brought through the first time, that they want me to be the ambassador, and again, kind of like a messenger to bridge the elemental kingdom and the elemental realms with humanity. And again, I learned that there are actually king elves, or royal elves, they're called, kings and queens. And I starting connecting with the royal elves last night. And there are also tree elves, which was very exciting for me, forest elves, and also tree divas, I think they are, which no doubt were supporting me when I wrote Conversations with a Tree. So I know I already have this connection. And um, I'm so delighted and looking forward to everything that's going to arise out of this to share with you as humanity rises in our frequency so that we are more able to meet that realm and to know that they will then help us manifest our own lives and what we need as we go through all these earth changes. And by helping us to understand the earth and how we can help restore the earth and areas that have received turmoil, like for the fires that we've just seen in California, by helping us humans know how we can restore that and speaking to the sensitive beings who can receive this information, then we are also helping them, because we can go out with rakes and do what's required, and they can give us the guidance through their own knowing about how nature works, how long it takes to grow, the way it needs to grow. Findhorn is a great example of this, where one of the founders of Findhorn was highly intuitive and had a connection with nature, and they were able to build this beautiful place. I've never been there, on rocks and still grow gardens that flourished. It's because of that connection with the elemental realms. So stay tuned, my friends. I do hope you will stay with me and join me for what's unfolding. I would invite you to subscribe to my channel, or if you don't want to do that on YouTube, to hop over to janewarrencampbell.ca and join my newsletter list. It's usually only one a month at the most, and you'll be informed of when all of this starts to come forward. I'm going to have a few different offerings on my website that is all going to be related to trees and nature that I'm very excited about. I look forward to launching those late February, early March. And I learned I'm also going to have a move in there somewhere in March, because the house that I'm renting right now, my suite is being sold. So there's going to be lots of newness this year in the spring. And I had a feeling back in November that I was going to be moving, and um, I didn't really know why, because I like where I am, but it was just a very strong feeling. And now I know why. And now my intention is to be, even though I'm in a beautiful town with huge trees right outside my window, I am choosing to be closer to nature and more immersed in nature. And of course, that makes sense with this piece that's coming forward. To walk out my back door and be on a trail and be among the trees would be just amazing. So, this is what I'm asking the elementals in return for what I'm offering. And they seem to have this great sense of exchange. It makes sense to them that you do well for us and we will do well for you. And that makes sense to me too. So stay tuned. So happy to share this with you. Thank you for listening to the end and meeting this new adventure that I'm on. And I look so forward to connecting you in the very near future. So much love.